Good morning. It's Monday, January 9th. And I am here to tell you this morning that the fact that Kevin McCarthy bought his way into the Speaker's house, not by monetary issues, but by giving too many favors away to those that actually opposed him. And I'm here to say this morning that this is not the most terrible thing that happened in this country over the past few days. There is something that happened in a small town, well, not such a small town, but a town in Virginia, not a slum town, not the bowels of Chicago or New York City or some other town like Los Angeles where people are sleeping on the streets. This happened in a decent middle-class community from what I can tell. Population of Newport News is about 185,000. Now, Newport News is famous for its shipbuilding capability. So there are many people in this town who have good, solid, middle-class jobs working in those facilities. Shipbuilding is something that requires a great deal of skill. I have a grandson who works in an industry similar to that out on the West Coast. He's a tool and die guy. So back to the main issue that I wanted to speak about. A 6-year-old child deliberately shot his teacher. Can you imagine that? During a so-called altercation. And what kind of altercation could a 6-year-old child have with the teacher? Certainly, it's got to be very upsetting for this kid to pull out a gun and shoot his teacher. A 6-year-old child was able to bring a gun into school and shoot his teacher. Not by accident. This kid took aim and shot his teacher. And you know what the school district said? That's a terrible thing that happened, and we're so sorry about it. But meanwhile, they have the ability to have metal detectors in their schools, etc. Devices that would ensure that nothing dangerous got into the building. And they have nonchalantly ignored that. They didn't think it was necessary. Well, nowadays, I think everything is necessary. I don't think that you can make any decision based upon history anymore. Shit happens all the time. So this event, which has been in several newspapers, it's not gotten the attention that it deserves. So I'm here to tell you about it. I think this is far more important in our country than the fact that Kevin McCarthy became Speaker of the House. And I certainly think that this event is more important in the stakes that are going on around this country than the mere fact that we have a schmuck as the Speaker of the House. The teacher was shot. She's in her 30s. And they got her to the hospital, to the local hospital, with life-threatening injuries, but she, meanwhile, is in stable condition. And there were no students who were injured in the shooting, which occurred, obviously, in a first-grade classroom. And then the statement was issued that all the students are safe. Well, lucky them. And the chief of police also said that this was not an accident. And of course the chief of police said, this wasn't a big-time shooting thing. We didn't have anybody running around the school shooting people. This was a one-on-one situation. Well, big deal. How did the kid get a gun into school? A 6-year-old is carrying a gun into school. Isn't that a big enough deal without anybody else getting hurt except this teacher? Something is wrong with the way we're looking at this. And from what I understand, when a 6-year-old shoots somebody or does something evil like that, they can't be treated like an adult. So this kid, I don't know what they're going to do with him. I don't know what they can do with him. The law protects him to some extent, but certainly his parents and maybe even his grandparents and maybe his brothers and sisters should all be held responsible for this kid's actions. And where did he get this gun? Where does a 6-year-old get a gun? And where did he put it to carry a gun into school? In his backpack, probably, along with his lunch. So who's packing his lunch? How could he get a gun into school without his parents watching and knowing? And then the school superintendent says, we need to do more to stop gun violence in the school. But he's the guy that's in charge of protecting these kids. He didn't have any metal detectors or anything set up in his schools. But we have to do more. He's the guy in charge. He could do more. And he says, I keep sounding like a broken record because I'm reiterating that we need to keep guns out of the hands of young children. Yes, you do need to keep guns out of the hands of young children. But you have to do something else beyond that. Talk is cheap. We cannot allow the gun violence to continue in this country. This incident should be blown so far out of proportion that the whole country knows about it. It should be on every newscast all over the country that a 6-year-old is able to deliberately shoot a teacher. No matter what the teacher said to him, something is wrong, and it goes beyond this child. Something is wrong with the family. How could he sneak a gun into school? How does he get a gun into his backpack? And I'm just guessing that's how he carried it into the school. I'm sure he didn't have it in his waistband or in a holster or anything. So the only logical place he could have had it is in his backpack. Because all these little kids walk around with this heavy backpack with their books on their back. And in this case, the kid probably had a gun in there. So much has to be done with respect to gun violence. If we spent as much time trying to take care of gun violence as we have spent watching an asshole become Speaker of the House, we would be getting something done that was important in this country. I am sure that Kevin McCarthy is not going to do a damn thing about gun violence. The Republicans will never allow that to see the light of day in Congress. And here we have a 6-year-old showing us the way that gun violence has crept into our population. When a 6-year-old has a gun that works, and it's not a water pistol. So what we have here is a terrible event. And all the school district says is we have to watch it. We have to be very careful. Our hearts go out to the family, right? And to the teacher. And the governor has expressed his sorrow about this event. But is he going to do anything to keep guns off the streets in Virginia? I doubt it. Because no matter how bad the shootings are and what the situations are, the gun culture in this country will continue to grow. So I leave you with that. A terrible incident that's not getting the publicity it deserves. Now maybe this rant will become a #1 hit. Take care. Have a great day. Bye.